unhealed baggage shows up unannounced. And if you're not careful, you would give space for that thing instead of saying like that's a thing that shouldn't be here. What you have to do is see these triggers, see these little things that pop up. Don't ignore it. If you don't deal with it, it's going to deal with you.
Most people know they have these little triggers, right? Most people know that like certain things are probably going to take me to the edge, right? Some people don't, but it's like for the ones that do, why hold on to it? Why not set yourself free? Why not get to the bottom of it so you're not triggered by it? The healing is our responsibility. And like, I think that sometimes we just got to love ourselves enough to get it done. Like, love yourself enough. You don't have to walk around angry. You don't have to walk around upset. You don't have to give people the control or the power to make you get in a space that you don't necessarily want to be in, but you kind of emotionally are hostage to it because you haven't dealt with it.
What's up, family? This is Jay.
And this is Tay.
And you're now tuned in to another episode of the Unscripted Journey podcast. Well, family, we have another banger for you. I believe that it's something that is going to be thought-provoking.
Yeah.
I think that it's going to be something that's going to cause you to have some conversations within yourself, some conversations with your spouse, with your mate, or with your family. And I think it's going to cause you to do some internal basically do an internal check, right, of where you are. So Tay, you want to introduce the topic, what we're going to talk about today?
So the topic today is when your past packs a bag.
Oh, man.
I don't even like the sound of it. Even though it be packing this bag, please don't come.
Now, I think that it's a topic that if we don't discuss it, it will continue to show up its ugly head, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure. And the fact that we need to go ahead and just throw it out there that it happens.
No, it happens,
and you don't even know it sometimes.
No, for real. And it's not just your relationship past.
No.
It's your past in general, right?
Yeah.
What you've experienced in life and what you have gone through. And things of that nature. And so, I mean, for me, when I think about that, the first topic that comes to my mind is that how unhealed baggage shows up unannounced.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
How times in life when you're going through different instances and going through different things in your life, things happen.
Yeah.
That your past rears its ugly head.
Yeah.
And if you're not careful, you would give space for that thing instead of saying like that's a thing that shouldn't be here.
Yeah. And you got to be so careful because it's so like it just happens automatically. I say that because it's definitely happened with me and with us.
Yeah.
And sometimes you don't even recognize it. And sometimes you do. Sometimes you like, after you say something or do something like, where did that come from? And then sometimes you don't even recognize it and you just going on. And then your partner or your significant other or whomever you're dealing with at that moment is like, where did all that come from?
Right. I think of it of how it's a slippery slope.
Yeah.
Right. Of how it can turn into a whole bunch of stuff, right? Trauma turns into trust issues, turns into insecurity. And if it's not addressed, right, it'll stick with you. Like, for instance, one thing that I think about is when we were together, when we first got together, there was something I was doing that I don't think you really caught on to it.
Yeah.
I don't think I really caught on to it to address it.
Okay.
Is my trust, my lack of trust, right? Being that before I met you, right, I was in a relationship, was engaged. She betrayed my trust. And when I met you, in all honesty, and I think I've said this before, but to those who are new, that are listening and watching, I thought you were out of my league, right? I thought that, I dated up, right? I felt like, and
Come on,
so, for me, is I'm feeling like, man, I got a very established woman, right? Who has a house, has her own car, has her own, you're established. And so it's like, man, like she's with me, a non-established guy, right? I'm not there yet. I'm working, I'm grinding. And so for me, trust issues begin to creep, right?
Yeah.
I began to find myself, at the time you had a Razor phone, right?
Yeah.
I began to find myself going through your phone,
going through that little Razor phone, because I had that little slide to the side.
No, it was a Razor, so it was a flip up.
Oh, I had the flip up.
Yeah,
okay.
You had the flip up Razor. And
I also had the Sidekick when we were together. That's what it was called.
Yeah, you did.
The Sidekick.
Yeah. And so
those were the days.
Those were the days. Not understanding, not really seeing that, man, that's a real thing that needs to be dealt with.
Yeah,
right?
addressed.
And so, I mean, I look at it now when I look at this topic, man, it makes me go back to think about, man, I wish we did certain things. And I think we've talked about it, going to marriage counseling, going to therapy.
Yeah.
We didn't have that back. We wouldn't have, that space wasn't cultivated back when we were together.
Right. Especially not at our age, that young of age. Yeah. It was already not really a talked about thing yet, it's much as it's talked about now. But then especially not in our age range at that time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so what you have, and I will say this to our listeners and our viewers, what you have to do is see these triggers, see these little things that pop up, and really don't ignore it. Right. We ignore it, but not only do we ignore it, we give space for it. Right. Yeah. We give it a name. You know what I mean? We don't. Like for instance, it's like a bag that's, we talked about, we talking about, your past, when it packs a bag. It's like that bag that you don't want to unpack. Yeah. Right. But you keep tripping, going, trying to move around it, but you make space for it. Right.
Yeah.
Instead of unpacking and instead of washing the clothes, because I'm gonna be honest, I hate packing and I hate unpacking. Right. And I think I hate unpacking the most. Right. Yeah. And so sometimes we'll make clearance, right? We'll make space for that. Right. And not knowing that, I don't care what you do, you're going to have to address it. Yeah. Because it's always going to be there. And that's one thing that, it not only did, it show up, right? Yeah. But it stayed. Right. Right. It stayed a while until we were addressing that, that
what's this all about?
What's this all about? Yeah, right? Why are you like this? Why are you watching my moves? Why are you in my phone? And that is the thing that we don't really understand, right? If you don't deal with it, it's gonna deal with you.
For sure. Yeah.
Right. If you don't address it, it's going to address you, right? It's going to keep knocking at the door until you answer it, right? Yeah. Until you deal with it. So that's one thing I think about being, unhealed baggage that shows up unannounced. What is an example that you may have when it comes to that topic, when it comes unannounced?
I think another portion may be punishing the people that's in your present for the past issues you have. Yeah. And when I think about it, I think about that, what I just said. And the first thing that comes to mind is money for me and you. Right. We've talked about before, hey, I'm a little tight on the money. You a little bit more flexible. You like to spend it because you make it and not, excessively spending, but I'm just saying, right? Yeah. And so I think about that all the time. And now I can kind of sit back and laugh a little bit about it because I'm a lot more different. But I think about it all the time because in my past, I was just struggling, right? I was just struggling. I had, our oldest daughter, I had her and I was just struggling, I mean, I talked about it, I think on the last one, and it was baby, I was at that ATM at midnight. Okay. Before anybody took anything from my check, I got my cash out and then I left everything else for whomever needed to take it after that. Right. But I was just really struggling. So once we got together, it was just oh my goodness. Yeah. No. Yeah. We don't spend this. Yeah. We literally pay bills. Right. And survive. Yeah. Everything else is going to savings. Don't even think about it, And I was very, very rigid with that because of my past experiences. Yeah. And I remember we just really had a hard time, I feel in the beginning, because I was just oh my goodness. Because for one, I had a separate account, right? And then I remember you kind of being we need to get a joint account. I'm for what?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I remember us getting one and I was woo. we are two different people.
Right,
I'm about to go ahead and separate my stuff again. Like, we need to go ahead and separate again. And it was like, no, let's come up with a compromise. And I remember us going through those changes, but it just took a while because I was just so set on being so rigid because I was just struggling, and I was like, I'm never trying to go back there. You know? And so that's just one that I think about, like, off the top of my head, like, definitely you was paying for that because I was just like, no, you know?
And you know, it's when you think about that, like for, you know, when you think about just that topic, right? It's, those are the things that we don't really see, right? Like, we've had different disagreements. Right? And in having those disagreements, we've both said, like, man, where did that come from? Like, you know what I mean? Like, where did that stem from? Like, I may have done this one thing, and it's understanding, like, what has happened, transpired before you got there, right? Like, when I think about that, that was one thing you was very adamant about when we got together was, hey, like, I can't struggle here. And
I can't go back. I cannot go back.
I don't want to do. And that was a main thing, right? And in saying that, right, that became a thing for me that now I had to be in the back of my head. I got to make sure this is right because I don't want her to feel like, and I've said it before to you, and I'm going to say this to our listeners and to our viewers, is that you have to understand you cannot let your current situation, your current person start off with a stacked deck against them.
That's true. Right.
And sometimes that's what we don't understand. Right. When we're punishing, the deck is already stacked, right? Like, for instance, I used to always say, look, you've already given me strikes before I even got to the plate to swing, right? And that's unfair, right? That's unfair to anybody, to any person, and you're giving them unrealistic things, you know what I mean, to achieve, unrealistic goals to achieve, right? And so those are the things that I really feel like that's why you have to spend time with yourself, right? Know yourself. And we talk about it often that if I could go back, right? And because you asked if we could go back before we got together, what would we change? I said, I would still choose you. But knowing what I know now, I would have spent more time getting to know me. And then the more I know myself, introducing that person that I know to you. Right.
That's good.
And so that's the thing that we don't do often, right? We don't spend time with ourselves, especially when we come out of relationships. We always looking for the rebound, right? We always looking
instead of taking that time for ourselves.
Instead of taking that time to reevaluate, right? To deal with what we've experienced, right? The good and the bad, and how it's affected us, and how, watch this, how it grows us, right? Those things that we've experienced, they can do two things, right? They can become weighty, right? Or they can become that thing that strengthens you.
Right.
And go ahead.
I was just about to say, I think there's twofold to that too. Spending time with yourself, and for those that are in relationships or marriages and things of that nature, caring enough to know what's past, what's going on. Right? Because it's two people trying to get together as one in a marriage. And it's my responsibility to try to figure out things about me, but it's also like, okay, cool. If I'm having a hard time with that, or we can't do it, you caring enough, the other person caring enough to say, like you said, where is that coming from though? Like not just automatically being super upset about it, or like, no, what are you talking about? But wanting to care enough and go the extra mile to kind of see where is this stemming from, right? And those are all very mature things to say, especially at this, this juncture in which I'm talking, when we were younger. I mean, I wish I had been this intelligent to know, but I wasn't. So I'm telling those that are in the situations now that are maybe like a little younger, and you may not think about that, but like, as you guys, we talk about it all the time. It's a team. So if I haven't self-evaluated myself yet to kind of be like, okay, Tay, like this is what's going on. This is where this is stemming from. It doesn't hurt for your partner to say, hey, okay, cool. It's coming off a bit much for me, but where is this coming from?
And that's a whole different thing. And I'm glad you brought that up, because a lot of times, because of our hurt, we can't even take the criticism from somebody who really cares about us and loves
true.
us to tell us, hey, you need to, pay attention to that, right?
Yeah.
Ain't nothing wrong with me. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I'm fine,
Right.
but the person that is seeing it from a different lens, right, and a different perspective can tell you, like, man, that
you may not want to say it like that. You want to be like, hey, babe, like, where's that coming from?
Right, yeah.
Maybe not so much as, you may want to figure that out. Like,
well, no, I don't mean like that, but
there's nothing to figure out. I'm just joking.
Come in with some tact, of course, right?
I know. We just,
yeah. So, but you know what? And I think about that. Not only does it shows up in relationships, right? Like I'm thinking about like how it even shows up when you're raising kids. Right?
Oh yeah.
Like when I think about it, my youngest one is, my twin, right? And if you've seen my oldest sister,
twin.
she's more of my sister's twin.
Yeah.
But when people see me, they say, okay, that's your twin, like that's your daughter. Yeah. And there's a lot of things that she does that I did.
Yeah.
Right. And just certain things, how, she's not really interested in something. She's not really, she don't know how to fake it. Right. She just like, I'm not interested. Right. And so at times I have become super hard. Yeah. Right. And I had to really deal with, okay, you know what? This is the thing you got to deal with, right? Because this is the thing that you didn't like about yourself. Mm-hmm. And so how do you want her to correct it, right?
Right.
Do you want to bash her? Yeah. Or do you want to have, do you want to have a conversation and have a real heart to heart, right, to where she can understand and see it? And so it has caused me to deal with it within myself, number one, but then number two, change my approach, right? Of how I approach her, how I talk to her, to kind of help her to see like, hey, this is why I come at you this way, right? You know what I mean?
And it's funny because we kind of have that conversation often about like how we approach the kids, and because both of our approaches are different with each and every one of our kids, right? Because those things do happen. You do see that in your kid and like, what in the world? Yeah. But one thing that I always try to keep in mind and that we always kind of talk about is those things that we see that our parents saw in us that like discouraged them or irritated them. How would we want them to have approached us versus how they approached us? Yeah. You know what I mean? Because the way we grew up is like, it wasn't no little like, hey, what's going on, Jeff, with that? It was just kind of like, get that together. Right. Or be on punishment or get the spanking. Right. And it's just like, well, how would I have liked my parent to approach it, so that they could receive it. So I think like in all these things, all these type of different relationships, it's just kind of like really taking that step back to know that like, the goal is the greater good, right? And so like, how do we want to approach it in order for it to be resolved and to be received?
No, that's, and that's so true. And then, this, cause I'm gonna tell you this topic right here, it brings so much stuff, right? Because one of the things that I also thought about was, how I became a sneakerhead. Yeah. Right? That I became a sneakerhead because of unhealed trauma. Okay. Right? That and it's not really trauma. I wouldn't say trauma, right? Don't do that. But when I was growing up, my parents we were growing up in that era where, people were getting killed for Jordan. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Like, and so my parents was like, you ain't never get no pants. Right. Like, it ain't happening. You're not about to get robbed. Yeah. And, and so like don't get me wrong, my mom kept us fly. Right. Like, we ain't walking around we walked around with the name brand. Like we kept up with the latest fashions. Right. But one thing about it, my mom then buys an abundance of sneakers. Okay. Right. So when you wanted sneakers, like you was getting sneakers because your foot was growing. Yeah. Or because they were being worn out. Because my mom, she had this thing like, you ain't finna be out here embarrassing me, right? Yeah, yeah. But you wasn't just getting sneakers in abundance, right? Yeah. And that has been the thing. Once I've gotten older and grown, and I got we got a good financial place. Yeah. Man, and I've had to deal with that because I don't buy as many as I used to. Don't do that because I haven't. But like I used to buy a ton of sneakers, like almost every other weekend, like a new box is coming in. Right? Yeah. Yeah. And so those are the things that, again, that show up, right? And you're like, man, why am I doing this? Why am I and it's always a thing that you don't just, you don't notice until you start to sit with yourself, right?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now I would ask you another question. What else do you think comes along with this topic when we talk about like the bag coming with us? Like, what else can you think about?
Yeah. I would say this: patterns don't break themselves.
Okay.
Right? Like,
okay, say more. Explain.
Some cycles, some things you got to work at.
Okay.
Right? You have to do the work. You have to be aware.
Right.
Right? So the first thing is you must be aware of yourself.
Okay.
Right? But then being aware, you got to be honest with yourself.
Right.
And I think a lot of times we do a lot of lying to ourselves.
Yeah.
Right? We do a lot of lying on ourselves as well. And that we're not honest.
Okay.
Right? And because we're not honest, we're not aware.
Okay. Do tell. Explain that. What do you mean?
For instance, when somebody say, "Man, what's wrong with you?" Ain't nothing wrong with me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm fine. And we make excuses,
fine.
right? Like, my mom was this way, my dad was this way. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? And so we're not honest, right?
Yeah.
We're not honest that, man, there is a problem if every 90 days, like, I feel a certain way, I'm kirking out, like I'm losing, like every so often somebody says something that just triggers me, it's sensitive, right? I'm just losing it, right? And we make an excuse for it, right? And we put it on
trigger
other people.
finger strong.
Yeah. And we don't take that time to say, man, like, this is a pattern that I really got to break, right? So the first thing is I have to know myself, get to know and be honest with myself. But then I need to be aware, right?
Yeah.
That when these things come up, I shouldn't just excuse them.
Okay.
Right? A lot of time we excuse that thing. And a lot of time we make excuses for people.
Yeah.
Right? Like we, they always been that way. But if they always been that way, it still ain't normal.
Right.
Like it's still, and it doesn't, like, those things don't just happen.
Of course,
right?
yeah.
For instance, right? I think about this. COVID, right? And during COVID, my sister was having a baby. My parents drove all the way from Texas to LA. She was in LA at the time. This was her first child, and they thought the baby was gonna come at one point. Didn't come.
Yeah,
they were here. They said, "Okay, well, can we just stay with y'all till the baby comes?"
Right.
Our parents and my parents ended up staying with us for a whole month, right?
Yeah,
which was cool because they was cooking dinner, like, it was great. But it was the greatest time for me because me and my father really had some real conversations.
Okay.
Right? For instance, there has been times when my dad has seen me with the girls and my dad has corrected me, right? About how I've maybe been hard, a little harsh. And I'm like, first off with myself, like,
First of all, yeah.
Like, how in the world you gonna tell me?
I know, not your face balled up.
Right, like, to go easy or do, and like, I felt like you was about to kill me.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, and
he said, this ain't about you.
Right.
It's about them.
It's about, and it was, and even my mom, she would do the same thing. And I'm all like, man, like, y'all, like, y'all, y'all went in on us, right?
Yeah.
And here's the thing, as I say it, I say this, I'm grateful, right? I'm grateful for it. Sometimes we'll have been a little, more talking, right? A little bit more talking. But I'm grateful because, I always tell people I was more afraid of the police than I was of my parents, right? So it raised me in a place where after a while I knew how far I could go, right? Like I'm like, that's too far. Let me bring that back.
Reel it back.
But I saw with our girls, it wasn't received that way. Yeah. Right? Like, our girls were different, right? Our girls showed us that there was a new generation that was coming that you couldn't just get by saying, because I said so. Right. Right? You couldn't just get by with just, a good whooping. You know what I mean?
A good whooping. Please explain. Good whooping.
A good,
what is a good whooping?
You know what? See, you gonna get me canceled.
That's another conversation.
You gonna get me canceled on here, but but in that instance, me and my father had real conversations, and to where one night I'll never forget that it changed something in me, it broke something in me, but then it also healed something in me. Yeah. That my father says, he's like, you know what, son, you're doing a great job. He said, you're raising your girls, spending the time with the girls. The girls are good, man. They're good girls. They're great human beings. They're mannerable. They don't give, they just regular kids, right?
Yeah.
My father said something to me. He said, you know what, son, I gotta say, I didn't do everything right. Right. I knew I did the best I could with what I knew, right? To understand my father and saying this, my father is somebody whose own father did not raise him.
Yeah.
Right. Whose own father had another family. Right.
Yeah.
And so we're talking about a man who, since 14 years old, had a job, right? Who worked hard, who his love language was making sure his family was taken care of, right?
Yeah.
And so, my father loved us, right? But he wasn't the mushy. He wasn't saying I love you. He wasn't doing all of that, right? And so that's some of the thing that I carry with me, right? And that's probably why I'm over loving, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm always saying I love my girls, hugging on my girls, because I didn't receive that from my father, right? But he said something to me. He said, son, I apologize because, I didn't do everything right. I did the best I could, but I apologize.
Yeah.
It broke something in me, right? Like literally had to turn away because tears were forming in my eyes because it broke all of that anger, right? Because we're talking about somebody who left home at 20 with a chip on my shoulder. Right. My father wrote something in my journal that my mom had got for all of our family to sign. And he said, everybody's writing encouraging words. My father in big letters says, don't make me say I told you so. Right. And so to a lot of people, like I had an aunt, and I never forget, my aunt wrote on the next page, ignore your father. But, because a lot of people were upset when they read that, right? Yeah. But my father knew exactly what to make me tick. Yeah. Right? Like my father, and I look at him, he was a mastermind. Like he knew, like I lived on proving people wrong. Like he knew like that was going to be the thing that drove me when I felt like quitting, right? That was going to be that thing that keep going because he knew like, and so it was harsh a little bit, right? But it was a tactic, right? Yeah. And so for my father to say, I apologize, right? Yeah. That broke something, that healed something in me, right? Yeah. That little boy was healed. That little boy who always was trying to prove himself to his father.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm good enough, right? That thing that, I never forget, like, these are all things I remember in my head that let you know, like, what mattered to me. Right. I remember the time, my father showed up to my game. I wasn't the best basketball player. I was just, I wasn't, like, what I mean? Like, skillfully, but I just, I was okay. Yeah. Right? I had the best basketball game ever. And my coach was like, what in the world happened? But I couldn't say to him, my father showed up, right? Yeah. I couldn't say that, my father chose me over the church, right? Yeah. And so that's one thing that I remember, right? Yeah. I remember when I graduated from, when I graduated from the Air Force, my father hugged me and says, I'm proud of you, right? And how we both broke down in tears, right? Yeah. And my whole family is just like had to walk away because they're like, they knew the relationship between my father and I, right? So imagine, fast forward 2020, in my 30s, my father says that. He not knowing that healed something in me,
that was
right?
a bag you had been carrying for a while. That was a bag that I was carrying,
right? And so him saying that healed something in me, right? And so now I'm understanding, like, man, he broke a pattern. Yeah. Right. And I don't know if he saw a pattern. I don't know if he was seeing it.
Like felt like that was something he had went through too,
right. By him saying that, he broke the pattern, right? And so understanding at the end of the day, like you have the power to either break the pattern in your life, in your spouse's life, in your family's life, right? And you have to understand that, right? Because patterns repeat themselves, right?
Of course,
and it keeps going. And so those are the things that you have to understand, that, hey, these things don't just get away with time.
Definitely. They don't just go away.
And a lot of times people, time heals all wounds. Like Some, but then there are some wounds that you really got to give attention to, right?
Right.
Like there are
some needs medication.
Right. Like there are some wounds that you have that you get a little scrape. Oh, in 3 days it's good.
Right.
But there are some wounds that you got to go put some Neosporin on, right? Bandage up. Some wounds you even have to go get stitches for, right?
Yeah.
And those are the things that we have to understand, right? That we got to stop giving excuse for the wound, and we got to be intentional and heal the wound.
Okay.
Right? Does that make sense?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I want to encourage our listeners and our viewers, man, like take advantage of your life.
Yeah.
Right? Stop making excuses and really take your life by the horns, right?
Yeah, because I think about something and I'm thinking like healing is our accountability.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I guess at the end of the day, even I think about myself and not anybody, but just thinking about me. And it's like, why those triggers, right?
Yeah.
When I said the trigger finger be strong, like having those triggers, like most people know they have these little triggers, right? Most people know that like certain things are probably going to take me to the edge, right? And some people don't, but it's like for the ones that do, and why hold on to it?
Yeah.
Why not set yourself free?
Yeah.
Like, why not get to the bottom of it so you're not triggered by it?
That's
like,
good.
I mean, I can't even explain to you how many times I have been triggered, like when I was younger. Like, I mean, you probably would have asked our oldest, and she'd probably be like, Mom was a wild girl, right?
Yeah.
Like we were just talking the other day, and she was like, Mom, like, like everything was triggered. It was like ping, ping, pow, pow. And it was just like, why not get healed? Why always run something to the ground? Why always want to be upset? You know what I mean? Why always just waiting for somebody to do something so you can just pop off? Like that feeling doesn't feel good, right? It doesn't feel good to be like emotionally unstable like that. You know what I mean? So it's just like the healing is our responsibility. And like, I think that sometimes we just gotta love ourselves enough to get it done. Yeah. Like love yourself enough. You don't have to walk around angry. You don't have to walk around upset. You don't have to give people the control or the power to make you get in a space that you don't necessarily want to be in. Right. But you kind of emotionally are hostage to it because you haven't dealt with it.
No, yeah, most definitely, yeah.
So I think about that when I think about what we're talking about too. It's just like, take some accountability. Like you said, you have the power to do it. And, and not in a bad way either. Not like you need to be accountable, but for real, girl. Or boy, like, like, free yourself.
I think that, and that leads to like, to the other point where like healing is your responsibility. Right. Like healing.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Like healing is, you're responsible for your healing.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that a lot of people really have to understand that like it's nobody else's job. Yeah. Right. It's your job. Right. It's your job to do it. It's your job to fix it. I think about it all the time. Like when we talk to people, like, I'm unashamed to say it. We both have our own therapist. Yeah. We both have and then we have a couple, we have a couple therapists, and we have a mentor that, mentors that we see when it comes to being better husband, better wives, right? Yeah. Because at the end of the day, you have to understand, like, in order for me to be better, I gotta take, I have to take ownership of it, right? Take ownership of it that, hey, and in taking ownership, I don't know, sometimes we look at it as a bad thing.
I know. I'm like, it's a good work.
Yeah. We look at the bad thing, especially when we feel like, well, I wasn't the one that hurt me. Right. I wasn't the one that did it. Right. But okay, you maybe not been the one that did it, but it still hurt. Right. Yeah. And it has affected you. Right. Yeah. And it has affected you in a negative way. That why not take the power back?
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
I mean? Like why not take the power back and say, you know what? I'm no longer have this thing control me. Yeah. Have this thing, basically like, it's almost like it's a puppet, right? This thing has you by the strings, and it's just controlling you, right? It's controlling your relationship, controlling you, how do you talk to your kids, how you show up. Like it's controlling you, and it no longer do I want this thing to control me, right? No longer I'm going to do the work, and I'm going to be responsible and take ownership that says, okay, I may not have been the one that broke me, but I'm going to be the darn one that has a part in my healing.
Right. Because it's like, even with that, I'm just sitting here thinking, and I'm like, even with that, if Tom broke me, and then Joe shows up, and I'm still triggered from when Tom broke me, it's like, what does Joe have to do with Tom? You know what I mean? And it's just like, it's just rough. It's just rough to be in that emotional state. Like you said, was just controlling. It's like just random people can say something, and it's like kaboom, just that emotional distress. And I've definitely been there. So I know it all too well. And I'm just like, it's rough when you're in it. But it's a good work to get out of it. Even though the work is rough getting out of it, but it's a good work to get out of it.
That's good. That's really good. So what would you say, as we put a bow on this, what would you say, one takeaway that you would say to our listeners, to our to our viewers? What would be that one thing that you would say, boom, hold on to that?
So the topic is when your past packs a bag. I think the one thing that I would like for everybody to take away is just that you have the power to deal with the bag when you notice it. And to be open for people to tell you, hey, what's that about? You know what I mean? Because sometimes we don't notice things that are happening, or that we're triggered by, or emotions that are coming up, and it's just like blah. But loving yourself enough to, when you notice it, to want to do the work to get it together. Because it doesn't hurt anybody but you. You may think it's hurting other people because you're spewing it all over the place, and you feel like people deserve it. But at the end of the day, just being emotionally unstable and kind of just triggered by things that may have happened in your past that you didn't quite get healing from is rough to be in that space. So I would just say, love yourself enough to be like, you know what, I'm going to deal with this.
No, that's good. I would say, and family, I'm going to say this to you. I'm leaning closely.
I'm going to hold your hand real tight before we say this.
I know. It's not them, it's you.
Yikes.
It's not them.
I'm still holding.
Hold their hand. It's not them, it's you. And what I'm saying to you is I want to give you a little piece of accountability. Man, take ownership of this. Like, stop looking outwardly and look inwardly, right? Look at, how can I fix me, right? To receive it, to not be around it, right? To see it, right? To be honest with myself, right? To say the truth and nothing but the truth, so help me God, right? And so I want to say this to you. Let's stop making the excuses. And let's take ownership. Okay. Right? Let's take ownership that, man, this is my bag. I got to deal with it. Right. I got to unpack it. I got to clean it up. And then I got to fold everything and put it in its proper place.
That's good. That's really good, actually.
Yeah, that's how I end it. So, family, I'm Jay.
And this is Tay.
And you were just tuned in to another episode of the Unscripted Journey Podcast. Listen, family, if you have enjoyed this conversation and are enjoying the conversations. So I want you to do, I want you to go heavy on the subscribe, heavy on the share, heavy on the likes. Listen, we are almost at 100 subscribers on YouTube. Our goal this year was 100 subscribers. So I want you to do me a favor. If you are a subscriber, I need you to tell a friend. All of the 90 subscribers, do me a favor and tell one friend to say, hey, go on here and hit that subscribe button. You want to be a part of the Unscripted Journey family. So listen, family,
thank you, 90 subscribers.
No, thank you. Thank you. And not just our subscribers on YouTube.
Yeah.
Man, those who are listening.
Yeah, those who are sharing our posts.
Listen,
thank you so much.
Thank you.
Those who are commenting, thank you.
We appreciate you, whether you listen on Apple, listen on Spotify, Google, whatever you listen to this podcast. We appreciate you. You are part of our family.
Yes.
And we thank you for tuning in. And so, family, on that note, we love you.
See ya.
And peace out.